10 signs you're spending too much money. If you don't have a budget, the cost of living can sometimes be high, but the key to having financial stability is to ensure that the amount of money you earn is greater than what you spend. When you add up all your fixed and variable expenses like rent, food, phone bills, and gym membership, the totals should be less than your monthly income. Managing the money that comes in and goes out can be a challenge, especially for people with a regular income like contractors and freelancers. Finding your base income by looking at what you've done in the past would be a great starting point so that you can decide the limit for your expenses. Only 32% of Americans keep a formal budget, which means a huge percentage spends without a plan. You don't have to be very hard on yourself when creating your budget, as long as you know what goes to things like groceries, entertainment, and the like, you're set. A budget ensures that you will pay your bills now and not later. It also allows you to set long-term goals, such as saving for a down payment on a house, setting aside money for your children's college education or retirement. It prevents you from overspending because you have already planned how much you can spend in each of your spending categories. 2. You are trying to impress your friends. If you are buying a ticket for every festival or every happy hour because your friends are doing the same, then this is a sure sign that you are spending more than you can afford. Some of us suffer from keeping up with the Kardashians or the Joneses. It is very likely that you don't know what your friend's financial situation is, and assuming that you can afford something just because they can or doing it to impress them is not the right path. It is believed that at least 40% of millennials overspend to keep up with their friends, and 2/3 of them feel remorse after spending more than they had planned in a social situation. The tendency to overspend when going out with friends is not limited to just one generation. Researchers seem to think that there are not many differences between older generations. It is interesting to note that this is not just a socio-economic phenomenon. The temptation to overspend cannot be overcome. Robert Frank wrote in his book, Richistan, that 20% of families with between $1 million and $10 million in wealth in 2004 spent all their income or more in a frantic race to keep up with their new friends who have more money than them. This just goes to show that regardless of generation and net income, the temptation to overspend in an effort to keep up with our friends and their spending habits is common to all of us. Before we go to the third sign, I'd like to thank Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Skillshare is a platform where you can access thousands of information-packed courses. Literally, you can get classes on topics such as finance, photography, drawing, and so much more. Whether you're looking to fend off boredom, focus on self-care through creativity, or join a similar creative community, Skillshare is the place to continue learning. A course that I particularly liked is YouTube Success, Script, Shoot, and Edit with MKBHD. If you've been on YouTube for a while, you've probably watched a couple of tech videos or phone reviews, so you're probably familiar with Mark S. Brownlee. He is a fellow YouTuber with a huge following who makes videos about the world of technology. In the course, Mark S. will guide you step by step through every stage of his YouTube content creation process, from writing the script and storyboarding to filming and editing. If you've ever wanted to learn how MKBHD makes his videos, then this is definitely the course for you. So if it's something that excites you, then you have to try it. Therefore, the first 1,000 people who use the link in my description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium, and after that, it will only cost about $10 a month. 3. You are not saving. Saving for retirement and big expenses should always be part of your budget from your first paycheck. Sometimes we convince ourselves that we can't save because we don't earn enough or the bills are too high, but the most likely reason is that we spend too much. There are numerous fantastic apps that can help you analyze where most of your money is going and eliminate or reduce some things. A financial advisor can also help you develop a strategy for your short and long-term savings goals. Financial advisors recommend saving at least 10% of your income, but it all depends on the goals you have. Establish for yourself that it is acceptable to set aside a smaller figure for your savings if you are still paying off debts and a larger figure to pay them off, provided you have an emergency fund. It is important to remember that nothing lasts forever. At some point, you will no longer have your job, and then what you need is to have enough savings to maintain your lifestyle and be well. It is the responsibility of your current self to take care of your future self. So if you can't set aside money for this, then you are spending too much. Don't forget that everything you earn now is not just for you at the moment but also for later. If you don't have enough savings for later, how will you survive? 4. You always have money on your credit card before pulling it out to pay for small purchases. Think twice because you will accumulate debt before you know it. When you pull out that piece of plastic, remember that you are essentially taking out a loan. There is nothing wrong with using your credit card, but if you use it to pay for small things like a cup of coffee or a muffin, it is just another sign that you are spending too much. You should be able to pay for these things with the cash you actually have. If your credit card balance is more than you can pay at the end of the month and you are incurring debt, you should postpone any purchase until it is paid off and reduce the limit on your credit card while you're at it. Making minimum payments on your credit cards or loans only keeps you in debt for a very long time. You should always pay more than the minimum payment, regardless of how much it is. If you can't pay more than the minimum, you probably shouldn't have gotten into debt in the first place. Reduce your expenses so that you can make the extra payments. 5. You are making double purchases. This refers to buying items that you don't necessarily need. You can't even remember why you have them in the first place. Accidentally repurchasing things just shows how insignificant they are, and it is very easy to continue buying and wasting when you don't care about your purchases. Whatever drives you to buy that t-shirt in 4 different colors is simply incomprehensible. If you look around your house and realize that it is full of things you don't even need, this is another sign that you are overspending. Just because the product is on sale doesn't mean you have to buy more of it. If it's not something you constantly need, then you are overspending. Many people have this mentality that because something is on sale, they have to buy more of it, but the fact is that if the product is on sale, it is likely to be on sale again later. So don't try to stock up as much as possible thinking that it's the only chance you'll have. Simply buy what you need. 6. You are always anxious about money. You shouldn't worry about finances all the time. Whatever problem you have, try to face it head on, make a plan, and get all the help you will need, perhaps through credit counseling. It may seem impossible to get your finances back on track, but you can always get assistance with the right tools. If talking about finances makes you anxious, then you probably have many negative feelings about money based on your past experiences with it. And if money is something you're always anxious about, then you are probably spending a bit too much. The best way to manage financial anxiety is to learn to take control. It's just money at the end of the day, and controlling it is possible. Dedicate as much energy as possible to personal finances, how to manage your money, and how to make a budget. Then, once you get the hang of it, put it all into practice, and you might end up changing your attitude towards money. 7. You don't have an emergency fund. Just to clarify, your emergency fund is neither your savings account nor your credit card. It is your safety net. It's there for you to use in case of an emergency when you need money right away. Emergency funds reduce the stress and anxiety associated with money and give you peace of mind knowing that you are covered if something happens. If you don't have one, put an end to your frivolous spending and create one. If you haven't set aside emergency savings yet, it could be because you are spending too much. It is known that women tend to have less savings than men. On average, women save $2,000 while men save up to $7,000, a figure that varies widely based on factors such as age, race, and income. If you haven't started yet, start with a manageable goal to reach your first milestone. Anything can happen, and you need to have enough money in case of an emergency. 8. You borrow from friends and family. If you constantly need to borrow money from family and friends or rely on someone else to pay your bills, you need to reduce your expenses and start paying them yourself. It's like living paycheck to paycheck. It's about becoming smart with your finances and not hiding from them. It may seem like a good idea to ask for a loan without having to pay interest, but if you are unable to repay the loan, tensions rise, and the relationship could be ruined. If you think about it, how would you feel if you gave a friend or family member a few $100s and never got it back? Don't put your relationships at risk because of a spending problem. 9. Your bills are paid late. One thing to keep in mind when it comes to late bill payments is that they incur late fees and penalties, which are additional costs to pay. If you are mature enough to have bills, then it is fair that you pay them on time. If this proves to be a problem, why not set up automatic bill payments so that you are never late and ensure you have enough cash in separate bill accounts to pay them? Otherwise, you will end up with overdraft fees on your account. According to a report by the Urban Institute published in 2014, about 1 in 20 people with a credit file is at least 30 days late on a credit account or non-mortgage account payment. Paying bills late because you don't have the money to cover them is a sign that you are spending too much and sends a red flag to credit issuers who may increase interest rates or lower the credit limit. According to the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, you will also be hit with fees, and several late payments will damage your credit score. If you are late on payments over 180 days, your debt is automatically assigned to a collection agency or debt collector. Having debts in collection can lower your credit score and generally will remain on your credit report for 7 years. What's worse is that your creditors or collectors can sue you and are authorized to take your paycheck to pay the debt you owe. According to the Federal Trade Commission. 10. You have no idea what remains on your account. You won't know the balance of your bank account if you always spend money on something. It is also very likely that you are denying how much you actually have. Some people are even afraid to check because they don't even want to know what remains, but checking helps you limit your spending. Some people argue that bank balances can be misleading. They don't show the full picture, like the fact that rent is due in a few days or monthly internet bills are around the corner. They don't warn you that the paycheck you just earned has to cover you for the next 2 weeks before the next one arrives. This means that every payday, the high number on your bank account makes you feel rich, and you immediately start ordering things online and taking your friends out, only to end up eating cereal for dinner. And instead of doing something about it, the cycle continues. The best thing to do would be to check your account balance from time to time. In the comments, share your direct experience related to the topic covered today. We want to learn more and will gladly respond to any questions. Comment to let us know how we can improve. Your like would make us happy. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video.